Good morning. Good morning. It's absolutely freezing and it is frighteningly early. But I'm off on holiday. Hooray! Nowhere hot and warm, unfortunately. We're going down to Torquay. I don't know if you remember, we went down there about 2 years ago. I'm sure it was in the vlog. I'm sure it was. Anyway, very exciting. We're actually going down there to celebrate Kath's birthday, who is family down in Torquay, and she doesn't know we're coming. But she doesn't like being on camera, so I doubt you'll see very much of her, but that's what we're going down there for. But I'm hoping for fish and chips, lots of looking at the sea. I don't think I'll be getting in the sea because unfortunately, firstly, it is the very end of November, but also there's a storm going on at the moment, so there's also weather warnings. We don't know whether the train is even going to be running, but we are on our way to Paddington station at stupid o'clock. So I'll see you when we get down there. Morning. Look, I'm looking out. There's rabbits. There is rabbits in front of the hut. Unexpected. But I'm very pleased to say the weather is wildly improved today. So we're going to go and have a look at the sea and go and have a look at some gardens. And I feel that there might be a little bit of fish and chips involved. Good morning, good morning. We are out on a bit of a trip today. We're still just a little way outside Torquay, so we haven't gone very far. But we're in a place called Cockington. Now that is not the finest name, I will give you that, but this place is absolutely gorgeous. It's a bit of an oldie worldy show village now, I would say. I mean, there's still people actually living here, like it is a working village. But they've got lots of kind of independent arts things. They've got a forge and a glass blowing place, and that magpie is having quite the time of it. I don't think he's enjoying our presence. Obviously, it's the off season now, so like this would be buzzing in the summer, I imagine. But now it's quite quiet, which is nice. So we're going to have a bit of a nose around. It's got quite an interesting history, this village. Obviously, what's here now is sort of medieval and newer. Planning permission somewhat restrictive in this area. But it's got a history much older than that. There's 2 Iron Age forts here, and there's the remains of a Saxon village that was found near the pub. The village grew up around a main manor house, as you would imagine most of these villages did. And the first guy, like the main bloke that we know about, was Ulrich the Saxon. So that's how old it is. But slightly suspiciously, in 1048, a bloke who was in charge changed his name from Robert Fitzmartin to Roger de Cockington, which I think is deeply suspicious. Anyway, have a look at this moss. This wall, I know there's a lot more beautiful buildings here, but this wall covered in its little ferns and its mosses is so beautiful. Yeah, sorry, back to the history of the place. And actually 2 years ago, they voted a pony called Patrick to be the mayor here. I'm not sure how successful he was. During his time, he did get barred from the pub though, so it might have been fun times. This rose garden, can you imagine how beautiful this would be in the spring? Oh, just be stunning. Like the summer here would be gorgeous. I must come back. They've even got a rose on the sundial. Let's go and have a nose around the corner and see if any of the workshops are open. Ah, yeah, the fudge place is open. The gin place is open. Very important. The blown glass studio is open. So lots of very garish pieces of brightly coloured blown glass to be had. Oh, he's even got the same kiln brand as me, so it must be a good egg. This, however, is the stuff dreams are made of. This forge has been on this exact footprint for more than 500 years. But on that note, it is definitely time to head to the pub because I'm starving. And the pub here was actually designed and built by Edward Lutens, who I went to the same college as him, the Royal College of Art. So, cheers to him.
Northern League to one. Right. So I back them. The National League North. I'll tell you what, top to 13.
sunshine. Ooh. And we're back. Actually, to be completely honest with you, I did come up here really briefly yesterday afternoon after we'd got back, and there was just a little bit of sunshine left, and I was like, oh, I'll go up and see what's what, because we have had some seriously cold weather while I've been away. Actually, it was less cold down on the south coast than it was up here. So we lucked out. Actually, I really hope there's not a terrible droning noise over the top of this footage, because I don't know what's going on over there. It sounds like a strimmer, but like a strimmer on steroids. Oh well, I've got the microphone set to, not pick up every other noise other than me. Anyway, let's carry on. And if it's a terrible drone, I apologise in advance. Something exciting today. I've got some little tiny daffodils to plant. I don't know what variety they are. It's not hummus. It's just little tiny daffodils. You can see how teeny tiny the bulbs are. Apparently they're about the size of a snowdrop. They're not tete-a-tete, I know that much. They're white. So that's going to be really beautiful. I'm going to stick a load of them in. As you can see, we've got loads of them. Yesterday when I was up here, I was having a look at all the things that needed to be taken out. The dahlias have gone extra collapso. The marigolds are looking really sad. They need to be cleared. The nerines that were looking so beautiful when I left, completely gone. I'm going to move sideways because the sun's just come out from behind the tree. Is that better? Yes, it is. I can see you again. Yes, there's tons and tons of clearing. I'm actually up here on my own this morning because Mum has gone to have her flu jab, which is nice. Her and my dad are off on the excitement of flu jab. Actually, she was supposed to be going on a tour to the British Museum, the British Library today with a friend of hers, but her friend is ill. So she decided to get a flu jab instead. Anyway, she'll be up here shortly. So we'll keep an eye out for her. Clearing, bulb planting, and another thing that I looked at yesterday was Mum and I were assessing what's going on in the greenhouse chilli-wise, and I think I'm going to clear them today. There's a couple of plants that actually look still pretty okay, so I'm going to start with the worst looking, strip everything off them. Actually, to be fair, a couple of those plants don't have anything on them at all anyway. I already pulled all the chilies or peppers off them. So they're going to be the first ones to go. And then I'll work my way back and see what's what. The hot lemon are ripening really nicely. I've got quite a few of them at home, but we're getting down to like serious minus temperatures now at the moment over the next couple of days. So I think I'm going to take all of those. I've had pretty good success with them previous years, ripening them at home once they're like a fully sized pepper. So I'm hoping if I take what's left of the green ones, I can get them to go yellow at home. Yeah, I think that's about it. Sorry I'm talking so quickly. It's really nice to be up here. Blue sky, and we're back on the allotment. Not that I didn't love being by the coast, because it was gorgeous. And actually, although the weather was really a bit questionable when we were down there, we had a couple of gorgeous days, obviously. But when we arrived, it was right in the middle of Storm Bert. It was Storm Bert. And my goodness, was it choppy, I think is the right word. The railway, you saw actually, there's a clip in that where it's like we're going quite fast right next to the coast. Well, the railway line there is on the water. It was amazing. It's like waves are coming up over the train, and yeah, it was really good. But while we were staying down there, we were staying in this like a cabin in a friend's back garden, and so they've made this it's a bar basically. We were staying in a bar. But it was in their back garden, and the wild weather, you could just hear like the wind and the rain coming around it and just being all like cozy inside. Yeah, it was really nice. It was really nice. Anyway, I'm very glad to be back. Right, what's my first job? I'm going to save the greenhouse for a little bit because at the moment we've got full sun on the allotment. So I'm going to go and do the other things, and then right at the end I'll do the chilies because that is when the sun will be on the greenhouse, and I'll probably have got rather nippy by then. As you can see, it is full on like gloves and hat weather today. It's gorgeous, but it is cold. Cold, cold, cold. Hey, girlies, I know, I'm sorry. I'm coming to let you out now. They're all watching me like, what is that woman talking about? Why is she just not letting us out? Why is she talking to a square thing on a stick? Hey, girls, that's about it, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. I'll let them out as my first job. Hey, Dad Whirlies, are you watching me? Are you watching me, girls? Yeah, I think so. I think so. How have you been? How have you been? Come on, out we go. Yeah. Well, that was a good double jump, girls. Double jump. I'm going to cut these dahlias down today, but I haven't made a decision yet whether I'm going to store them in or out of the ground for the winter. 2 years ago, when we had that really, really cold winter, like unprecedentedly cold for here, it got to -8, we did actually lose a lot of the dahlias. But other than that, I've never had to dig them out before, unless it was for convenience sake, like we were moving them or something. And I am going to move these before next spring. But the question is, do I dig them out and store them in the shed, or do I leave them in the ground and wait till spring to move them around? All decisions. Today I'm just cutting them down though. So this is going to become a bit of a nursery bed for the calendula next year, a bit like what I was saying with the nasturtiums down there. These have self-seeded all the way through this bed. And so I'll just keep an eye out in the spring when they start germinating and take them from there. So I'll use this, all the little plants will start coming up, let them get a little bit, this sort of size, and then I'll whisk them out of here, or unless I want to keep some in here, I might keep some more in here. But overall, then I'll just use these ones as like to dot across the rest of the plot, like I'm going to do with the nasturtiums. This bed this summer was the bed that we grew the supposedly blight-resistant tomatoes in, and a couple of them were obviously blight resistant to a certain extent because tomatoes all around us on other people's plots were falling. And these guys, although they had the black patches, because obviously you're not immune to blight, but resistant, meaning that it doesn't spread through the whole plant in an instant and kill it all off, they actually did pretty well standing up to it. So I'm not disappointed with the varieties blight resistancy. It's just that I planted them so late this year for various reasons, but mainly I've just mistimed it. We had such a grey, slow spring that I found myself really behind because I wasn't in gear quick enough. And that's what I did with the tomatoes. So the tomatoes themselves were really behind, and then we didn't have any summer, or not enough summer to really get them going. So although the plants themselves resisted the blight really well, we didn't actually get much in the way of tomatoes off them. We got a couple, but not many. And the varieties that we had were Nangina, Crocchini, my memory is just so excellent, and Burlesque. And we had some Garnet in here, and we also had Jet Setter. Jet Setter's not known for being blight resistant, but when I grew them outside last year, all the other ones around them got blight, and they actually held up to it really well. So I put some of them in as well. And again, once again this year, they held up really well. So although these were not a great success this year, that was two factors, and neither of them were the tomato variety's fault. It was me being late and then having a crap summer. So I'll be doing the same again next year. But this bed and this structure that we've got up here is actually for the broad beans, which are coming up in the greenhouse. You know, we've already sown half a root trainer tray of them. So they're coming up looking really good. And in fact, every single one of them's come up so far. So pretty good rate. And I've actually only got space along this centre structure here for, what was it, 9? I don't know if you remember last year I did like a lattice work, so I might do that again for the later ones. But I do want to sow the broad beans in 2 tiers. So we've got the ones that are overwintered, which will be the Aguadulce Claudia. And then in the spring, I'm going to grow Eleanor Express again, because so far I haven't had any success with the Eleanor Express, but I have been told that it is the most delicious of the spring sowers for the broad beans, and I really want to get some good bean pods off them. But the last year, so I've grown them now 2 years in a row, and last year it was just a bit pants really. Nothing really took off that I'd sown that late, because the overwintered ones had done really well, but the spring ones just never really got going by the time I needed to get them out. And the year before that, we had really bad rust on these. And so the overwintered ones, which had kind of got a lot of strength in them because they'd already been growing in the ground for 4 months or whatnot, could resist the rust really quite easily. They just got on with it. They were already big. But when I planted the spring ones out, they were still so small that they got completely rust ridden really fast, and they didn't have the oomph to push through it. So once again, this year, we'll be doing 2 tiers of Aguadulce Claudia over winter and Eleanor Express for the spring. And fingers crossed, it's a better spring. Oh, look at that. You can see how cold it is. That's quite beautiful. Hello.
Hello. Hello, Lily. Come and say hello too. I haven't got anything for you.
Nah,
Beautiful day.
it's gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous.
Right. Now I think Polytunnel.
Right.
Fell over, but blown over. Oh, yeah, I was going to say, oh, you've taken the courgette out, but you haven't. It's just got so shriveled up. Can't see anything, can you? I've got a bucket of sugar and put forward with that. Yeah, that's fine.
need a bit of a drink though. While I'm on the flower attack, the zinnias are gone as well. Something else that never really, oh hello, that's bright. Something else that never really met their full potential this year. I grew these ones from seed, and it was the same variety that I grew last year, and you can see what sort of size these plants are, like this. Well, this same variety was like, must have been 3 foot, 4 foot tall last year. So yeah, just didn't quite get going. They were still gorgeous. This variety was Tangerine Queen, I think, and I also had Girly Wigs or Whirligigs or something like that, something related to the girlies. And I'm going to do the same again next year. I've got seed left over, and they were all gorgeous, just a bit too short. And I generally grow the zinnias for cutting, like the dahlias, because the more you cut them, the more they flower. But this year they just not really quite prolific enough to feel comfortable cutting them. It has taken me a bit of time to get comfortable doing cut flower. So I don't know if you remember, for any of you who've been watching for four long years, at the start I was really anti's the wrong word, but I find it very uncomfortable when something would be flowering beautifully and Mum would come along and chop it off to take it home for cut flower. So I started growing, like sowing and growing things specifically, like with the onset idea. Oh, look how glowy my hand is. It's like I've got glowy fingers. With the specific intention of using them for cut flower, and that way I could kind of, you know, differentiate between just the beautiful flowers that I wanted to leave alone and things that Mum could cut. And the zinnias turned out to be brilliant for that. The dahlias and the zinnias you just can't beat. They're wonderful. Look at my orange hands. Oh, sorry, I got distracted by the glowing fingers again. What I was trying to say there was that the fact that the more you cut them, the more they flower. Like, I consider that to be the kind of cut flower you can have. The things that I find almost impossible and really upsetting to cut are things like daffodils and tulips, where you've just got that one flower and that's all they're doing for the year. To cut it off just seems cruel. Cruel. She still cuts them off. She does. But I think it's cruel. Mum's been doing a bit of watering in the Polytunnel, and actually things are coming along quite nicely. I know I showed you last week, but the coriander and the parsley are looking really nice. Lamb's lettuce and the dragon's tongue mustard greens and the green wave mustard greens looking good. The spring onions are looking a little bit sad, but they should be good in the spring is what I'm expecting, rather than over winter. And then I have this one patch, and I'm not sure what I'm going to put in there. I'm going to go and have a look in the greenhouse and see if we've got anything that could possibly go in there over winter. That's not going to last too long into spring, that's the other thing. Because sometimes you end up planting stuff in here, like brassicas or whatnot, which do really fantastically over winter, but then they're not going to be ready until May-ish time to eat, even if they're in the polytunnel. By then I've already got to have my tomatoes in, so it's all like, you know, knock-on effect if you put something in here which is going to last too long, because it's not an enormous space. Like, this is only 3 meters by 2 meters. It's not like one of those beautiful, huge polytunnels that people have that I'm wildly jealous of. But it does mean that we have to be quite careful about timing in here. Anyway, I'm going to go and have a look in the greenhouse and crack on with the chilies and the peppers, and also see if there's anything we can stick in here. Right, yeah, greenhouse stuff. We did actually have a quick look in here yesterday, Mum and I. Did a bit of strategy discussion. And as you can see, if I'm standing in the way, the chilies have had their time. I had a couple of questions last week about whether or not I was going to overwinter any of them. And to be fair, I have tried overwintering them before. We had one year where it was a total fail. They were just sticks. Another year we did actually manage to get, I think it was 3 plants through the winter. They started sprouting in the spring. Everything was good, but I found them to be an awful lot less prolific than the ones that I'd sown that current year. So no, that was a long-winded way of saying, no, I'm not going to overwinter any of these chilies. I am going to have a go at overwintering 2 of the aubergines, though. Because the aubergines this year, I mean, aubergines are so slow. They're even slower than chilies and peppers to get going. So I'll give it a go. Never tried with the aubergines. I'm going to do this variety, which is called, well, I'm not sure. This is supposed to be Black Beauty. This came from Johanna. It's got a label in it that says Black Beauty, but I can tell you the aubergines we had off it were not Black Beauty. Black Beauty is a classic looking aubergine, you know, narrow top, like pear-shaped, narrow top and a fat bum. These were cylindrical. We had 2 of them and they were totally spherical and much pinker than Black Beauty. So I don't know who it is. I'll ask her if she grew any other varieties. Maybe the labels got mixed up. But we're going to try and save that one. And we're going to try and save 2 of these white knights, which were the long, skinny white ones that were excellent. Okay. Right. I've got my tray to put my chilies in. I tell you what. In here the other night. So we have been putting these in overnight. Can you see them? Hang on. I've got to check the camera. Can you see those? No, you cannot. I'm just going to take you in with me. So you see these 2 pots here? Inside them are candles. And we have been putting them in here overnight on the really cold nights to try and up the temperature in here a bit. Well, we've had some really good success with it, actually. So let me think back. So 2 nights, this is reports from Mum because I wasn't here. So I'm giving you second-hand information, but she's pretty reliable. We had 2 really cold nights that got down to -2. One of them was 3 nights ago and one of them was 2 nights ago. So not last night, but the night before. And but they were the same temperature outside, external temperature. First night, forgot to put the candle in here and it got down to -1.2 in here, inside. The next night, Mum remembered to put the candles in when she put the girlies to bed and it didn't get below. What was the temperature that it didn't get below, Mum? Not minus, but 1.2. Yeah, so 1.2. So that's a like 3-degree difference from outside nearly, just keeping it above freezing. So I think it's well worth doing. And luckily for us, we got a whole load of candles given to us because the pub was chucking them out. So we've got like big candles to put in there and they seem to be working a treat. So we're going to carry on doing that on the particularly cold nights. Anyway, I am going to strip these chili plants off. Oh yeah, while I'm in here, these are the broad beans coming up. This is what's going to go into the bed where I've cleared the marigolds from. Up until yesterday, they were all up apart from this one, but you can just see it's pushing the soil up, so something's happening under there. And in terms of things to go into the greenhouse, I do have some more parsley in that corner that's ready to go. I do have more mustard greens that I could always do a bit of infill with. And these are lamb's lettuce, but actually I think we're just going to eat them straight out of the pot. But yeah, look at this. I do actually have a mono agretti still going strongly, so I'm going to put that one up and take that one home too. Actually, talking of the agretti, so this is that one that I had. I did eat bits of it, but not a huge amount. But I'm hoping, because you know I've had all those problems with getting the seed to germinate, I'm hoping that this one is just going to self-seed like into the pot. You can see there's quite a few of the seeds like dropped in there. That's one there. So I'm going to just leave this like hanging over the pot like that and hope it self-seeds and I can transplant them out of there later. Sometimes it just works like that things that you've had real hard time germinating just self-seed really easily but won't. It's a bit like the garlic chives. I've tried for years to try and get the garlic chives to, grow in a pot, as in from seed that I've actually bought. And yet once I bought one and got it going, it self-seeded everywhere. So yeah, that's the technique I'm trying with this chap. So, oh God, I'm absolutely blind. I'm going to have to move you. Is that any better? Yeah, that's better. Bit on a slope, but never mind. Yeah, so that's quite a lot of fruit, actually. Yeah, if we'd had a more heat a bit later in the year, or in fact at any point of the year, I reckon we would have had a really decent chilli harvest. We've got loads and loads of these boot jalokia, obviously green at the moment, although a couple of them starting to turn. So I'm optimistic that they're going to go. Tons of the hot lemon or the lemon ahi, which is, lots of them are just about this colour, so you can see slightly green but going yellow. So I'm optimistic about that. Same with the champion, which are the ones, oh, I've got a nice glow. Same as a champion, which are the ones from JB that's got very little heat in them, but delicious. And then these ones, which were a mystery. I have to go back and look at my list because what was supposed to be in that pot are not these. And also the one that's not called Aurora, but is called Aroma. They're actually looking pretty decent. That is a good size little chili pepper, and haven't eaten any of those yet, so we will try them. But yeah, 2 good sized trays there of peppers to try and ripen up at home. Goody gumdrops. I'm having second thoughts about, I can see another one on the pile of discard. I'll get that before I chuckle that in the compost. It's quite a big one as well, actually. Yes, I'm having second thoughts about dismissing the overwintering of the chilies. A couple of those plants now, I've cut them down, like they look really strong at the bottom. I'll discuss with the mother when we're at home. I'm not going to clear them away just yet today because we want to save a lot of the compost that's in there, and I need to get a bag all clean and ready to store that. But yeah, excellent. I'll put these on the side. peas, got all that
I've
stuff.
got peas, got your peas, got my
Yeah.
peas.
Cheers, chaps. Whew. So by the time I got home yesterday, after that, I realised that the one thing that I'd actually gone up with the full intention of doing, which was to plant those daffodil bulbs, I didn't do it. Didn't do it. I didn't just not film it, I didn't do it. So that is going to be number one for next week. And you see, that is why I have a chalkboard to-do list on the shed, because otherwise that would be every time I go up there. Every time I go up there, the most important thing always gets forgotten. Just had a fly land on my nose. Nice. Yeah, so had such a great time in Torquay, and I'll just say thanks so much to Lee and Sam for letting us stay in their, I would say shed, but it was rather more than a shed. It was fantastic. Absolutely loved staying in their little cabin. And obviously to say happy birthday again to Kath, because although she didn't want to be on the blooming camera, like that's what we were actually there for, was to say happy birthday to her. So yeah, happy birthday if you're watching. Something I did want to say, so that was only yesterday that I picked those chilies from the greenhouse. And do you remember I was talking about the aroma one that looked like it was still yellow, but it was just turning? Look at that. It's only been in the house 24 hours and it started to turn. And the same with that one. That one was pretty much totally green. And all of these are starting to turn really, really fast. So I definitely think it was the right decision to strip them out of the greenhouse, because last night was freezing cold. So yeah, I think they would have probably really suffered in there. So yeah, look at all those beautiful colours. I've lost that one. So if all of these really do start turning this quickly, I'm going to have to get the dryer out and we'll do some chilli drying next week. I use that for doing chilli flakes and also chilli powder. If I have enough of the hot lemon, I'll definitely be making that chilli powder again, because that was the finest chilli powder I've ever made, or had, in fact, not just made. It was so good, it was so sharp tasting, absolutely delicious. But what is on the cards for next week? I don't actually know, other than the bulb planting, which has been rather unceremoniously shunted from this week. We've got no more trips on the cards. I don't know. We'll have to find out. Oh, that's the big thing. I've got to do you a pinch punch first of the month. It is December. It is December. I can't believe it. So I'll be putting the wreath on the door. I normally do that every year, about the 1st of December. So I'll be doing that in next week's vlog, and maybe being a bit festive. I don't know. I'm just going to say cheers anyway, chaps. Cheers to Sammy and Lee, who had us staying, and cheers to Kath, whose birthday it was. Cheers to my outrageous patrons who are the Monday Club, who will be watching this on Monday evening. If you're anywhere in the UK, you're probably freezing, because Monday night is looking proper chilly. They didn't say it was going to be chilly. They said it was going to be no colder than 7, I think, but whew, I just nipped out to grab the howls, and it was blooming cold. That's also something I needed to tell you, is obviously this is the first time I've been away from Hallie since we got her in March. Yeah, she was a birthday present, wasn't she? Yeah, so March, mid-March. I missed that cat so much. Like, how we were away for 4 days. Missed that cat so much. I feel like she's grown since we got back. I had a lot of comments from last week when the end clip, you know, I always stick a little bit of something at the end, and she was lying in front of the fire and she looked like an absolute beast. Well, she is. She's massive. If I could grab her, she's actually just coming in the door now. Are you going to come up here, house? Are you a house of the monsters? Look at the size of this beast. Oh, I missed her so much while I was away. I know, you want to escape, don't you? Yeah, but look. Beast. Absolute beast monster. Just want to, I just want to eat you. I do. Go on, you escape, darling. Yeah. So that's the size of Hallie now. Anyway, what was I saying? Cheers. I'll see you all next week.